Hey, Wid fam, it's Leo with One Happy Widow, and we are in a live session. And I know the last few times we've been in a live session, there's been people later on who've said, "I was there, I was watching you, but um, I could not figure out how to get into the chat." So I do see that I think there's at least one person that's trying to get in. So what I made sure that from my end, from what I could tell, that it's all set up. So I watched a YouTube video that said that if you're watching the live, okay, up on there's a bunch of stuff on your right side menu, so if you look on your right side menu and you look all the way at the top, there's like a little white box that will say top chat or live chat or something about chat, that you have to click on it and it will bring the chat box open. See if that will fix it, because my chat box is open on my side. I have clicked and I've typed in it. And so I know that it's open on my end. So I am not sure. And I don't know if it's maybe because it's a private, but I don't understand why that would make a difference on the chat. So look on your top right side, scroll all the way up to the top right corner of your screen if you can, and see if you see a button that opens up the top chat or the live chat and it brings it down into like a menu, and see if that works. I wish I could switch over to show my screen, but I can't do that unless I'm pre-recording. I haven't figured out how to do that. Well, I have the ability to do that live, but I haven't set all the software up and everything yet. So on my to-do list. So I don't know if that's working or not, because I don't see anybody chatting. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the Facebook group. I'm going to I can't pull it up on the screen, but I'm going to go to our Facebook group and see if you are here and you can hear me, but you can't chat. Then go to the Facebook, our pivot group where the link is to this. And I'm going to see, let me get in there. Let me see, where is the post? Oh, Teresa. Oh, I just saw your post on here. I saw the picture of your doggy dog. Oh, I'm so sorry. But just know that you know what? You're doing the best that you can for her, because if she's in pain, then that's the mercy that she needs. Okay, so is anyone I'm posting this on the Facebook page. Is anyone I'm posting it in the discussion right underneath the link to the actual video. Is anyone trying to chat but unable? Okay, I see a message coming up. Hold on. No chat area. Only on YouTube. Gosh. Okay, hold on. That's not going to do it. Oh, crap. Okay, I had found a YouTube video, but I'm going to see if I can take a screenshot maybe of live. See if there's somebody who's live right now, so I can go on there. Somebody's live right now, but I'm gonna have to. Whoops! I gotta hold on. Hang with me. Yeah. See. Okay. Let me see if I can take a Shift Command 3. Okay. That is, but I don't know how to put that picture. Gosh darn it. I'm so used to teaching. I can just take a snip and I can just put it up on the screen and be like, just look at this and click over here. And I can't do that here. I don't have the same capabilities. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be able to fix it this time either. Gosh darn it. Like I said, this is the last anyway for this YouTube that I'm going to do with this Facebook. I'm fixing to move everything over to Kajabi, and it has its own little area and it will have chat in it. So it'll have to be fixed on that side. Golly. All right. Well, Teresa, I do see your chat on the Facebook. So if you have a question, you can put it in there and I'll be able to see it. It just won't show up on this. So, all right, I'm back to my screen now. I thought I had it fixed. So if you can't see it up on the top right side where it says chat menu or whatever, I don't know. I'll have to do a little more research. I thought I had it figured out, but I guess I didn't. And without me being able to see what you see, I don't know how to tell you to fix it. But I'll get it figured out. We learn a little bit more every day, right? Okay, let's go ahead and do what's called week 4, but it's really module 4. It's the last module. It's the last 7 lessons in the course. Okay, and here's the topics that we're going to talk about. So you probably haven't gotten to them unless you're skipping around, but I'm going to just briefly go over the 7 topics for the last module so that you'll know what's coming up and just what's coming ahead. All right. So first off is taking a grief break. The reason why I did this lesson was because I think so many times, or so many of us, we start to get in this routine of like grief is our routine. And so it starts to become our identity. It starts to become what we do all the time and who we are all the time. And the more you do it, the more likely you are to flip to that, that being in a sense of grief all the time. And after a while, it starts to just wear down on you. And then you start to realize that, hey, you know what? I'm like in the state of grief all the time without even being conscious of it. It's just like you get so used to it that that's just what you do all the time. You become Eeyore, right? Like he's just all the time. He's always sad. And you realize, oh my gosh, I'm like that all the time. So you have to make a conscious effort to take a break from grieving because that's what you're doing all the time. And so you don't automatically come out of grief. You have to trick yourself, train yourself, coach yourself to come out of grief. All right. So my husband, JP, said it. He said it really well. Right after his wife died, he owns his own business and he does not have anybody who can work for him. And so his wife died on a Wednesday and he had to go back to work on a Thursday. The very next day after she died, he had to go to work. Well, he told me that he was crying and crying and crying. He had to wear sunglasses to work every day because all he would do was get in his truck, cry until he got to the next stop, he's a milkman, so deliver his milk with his sunglasses on, not talk to anybody, get back in his truck, cry to the next stop, and then go. He said after about 3 weeks of that, 4 weeks of that, something like that, he said, I got so tired of crying all the time, I couldn't do it anymore. And so I just decided to stop because the being in that state of crying all the time was not making him feel any better. Like it doesn't feel good to cry. We need to do it. But like the reason why we're crying is because we feel like crap. And so sitting there crying, it feels better after, like to get it out of your system. But like if you're constantly in that state of crying all the time, then you're not even able to think about healing thoughts. You're not able to think about positive thoughts, happy thoughts, or even allow yourself to get through that process. And so taking a grief break means deciding, even if it's just for an hour, I'm going to like pick something that is like an indulgence for you, like a sinful indulgence for you, like eating ice cream or watching some, cheesy reality TV show or some corny movie or something. Just choose something that that when you do that, it's going to make you feel. It might not make you feel happy, but it's something that's going to lift your spirits, or it's at least something that's going to take your mind off of the constant grief and the constant crying and the being there all the time, and just give your brain and your heart a break from actively grieving all the time. So if you don't make yourself do it, tell yourself to do it, give yourself permission to do it, schedule it in, purposely do it and set it up for yourself, then you might get to that point where you just never do because you don't actively tell yourself, okay, I'm going to take this grief break, like for just this 1 hour or this one evening or this one day or even this one weekend, however much you can bear it. Like if you can go out of town for the weekend and say, I'm just going to like pamper myself. I'm going to go get a massage. I'm going to go get a mani pedi. I'm going to go, go sit on the beach and read you know, a novel with Fabio on the cover or something. But it's purposely telling yourself, I am going to take a break from grieving just for a bit. Because trust me, it ain't going anywhere. Okay. If you get away from it, it's going to be there waiting for you when you get back. Okay. You're not doing anything wrong by turning your back on your grief, even though your grief might be your constant companion. It doesn't need to be. That's what we're trying to get you away from. So we're going to start with just a little bit and then make our way, to bigger chunks over time. All right. The next one is about chapter 2. A lot of times when you hear the term chapter 2, it's because people are talking about their new love. I think I found my chapter 2, and they think that means, their new love. But really, chapter 2 just means the second journey or the third or the next chapter, whatever, the next season of your life. Okay? It just means life after the loss of your spouse and whatever that might entail. And it's okay if it doesn't mean another person. Some people, they talk about is that chapter 2 being their new love. And then other people, it's almost like when I've gone on some Facebook groups, it's like you have these two groups. It's like the people who are open to finding love again and the people who are like, I will never, or whatever. And it's almost like you can't put them together because they pit against each other. And it doesn't need to be that way. Some people want to find love again, or at least allow themselves the option to have it. And other people are like, nope, I found the love of my life and he's gone now. And so I'm going to make a way some other way. That's fine too. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it's not grief. Okay. It's not like a season of grief. What matters is that you are making the most of the life that you have left in whatever way that is. Okay. If that's finding a new job, if that's getting a new pet, if that's finding a new love, if that's just going on vacation and just going and traveling the world, whatever it might be, whatever you can afford to do, whatever you have to do. But it's about, creating this new life. And I hate that term new normal, but really, as much as I hate it, it is true. It is your new normal. The reason why I hate it is because I didn't want it to be my new normal, because my normal was married to my husband and I resisted that. I did not want that to be my new normal, but that's what you're creating. And it's part of the acceptance process. All right. So chapter 2 just means, what does your life look like now as a widow or widower? What is that, chapter 2? Like, what is your life now? The next lesson is, who depends on you? And a lot of times I've seen people say, well, if it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't get up every day. If it wasn't for my pets, I wouldn't get up and do anything. So sometimes we need an outside influence to get us to, to get up and put one foot in front of the other, because we're not doing it for ourselves. And so we got to do it for someone else. And sometimes that's the best thing, because we feel like we don't have a choice. Like if we had a choice, we just lay in bed all day and we wouldn't get up. But since we don't have a choice, we get up and do it anyway. That kind of takes the burden of our healing off of us. It's like, well, I didn't want to do all this stuff, but I did because I had to, because I have children. Excuse me. Because I have children or I have pets or whatever. It makes it sound like, instead of feeling guilty for moving forward and being happy and trying to make a happy life for ourselves, we use that as, well, the only reason why I did that was because I didn't have any choice. I had to take care of these people. And if that's what you need, that's fine. But if you don't have that and you're not moving forward, then maybe it's time. And I don't mean go out and adopt a bunch of children if wasn't on your heart before, right? And I don't mean pull in a bunch of pets if that's not something that you feel like that you want to do. But whatever it might be, if it is kids or grandkids or pets, or maybe it's a homeless shelter, or maybe it's a shelter for battered women, or maybe it's a place that needs, maybe it's a nursing home. Maybe it's, going and walking the dogs at the shelter and then coming home since you don't want to bring them home with you, but you go up there and whatever. Like, find someone or some organization or some cause that needs you so that you can start to feel purpose. If you can't make yourself happy, then find someone else to help make happy. And find somebody who needs you, who depends on you, who looks up to you, who needs your advice, who needs your time, or who needs your services or your talents. Find that so that you can focus on being that being your responsibility and being needed by somebody, because it's really nice to be needed by somebody. And when you help them, you can see their gratitude and they thank you. And it makes you feel like, wow, I do matter to somebody out there besides just your spouse who's not there anymore. So that's what that lesson is about. Another lesson is that you are enough. And I know you've heard this before and it's like a cliche thing, but it really is true that you are enough. Don't sell yourself short. Don't belittle yourself. Don't make you feel like that you don't have value. Speak yourself up. Talk yourself up. Positive affirmations to yourself inside your head or out loud or on paper. There's all kinds of different things that we go through in that lesson to convince you that you are enough and that you have value and you have purpose. And there's a reason why you're here. Somebody needs you. All right. Creating new goals. So we started talking about in module 1 about setting goals. So we kind of said, well, where are we now and where do we want to be? And what is it going to take to get there? Well, then by the end, once you've started doing all these things and you started making changes in your life and you started moving to a different place, it might be time to create new goals, because you might have reached some of your goals that you made already, or you might be there. It might be time to tweak or make changes or make more new goals or bigger goals or anything like that. Because it's always good to reevaluate what your goals are and see, am I still moving in the right direction to accomplish these goals? Am I not making any progress? Because if I'm not, what do I need to do to change that? Do I need to scrap that goal? Do I need to update that goal? Do I need to find a new goal? Like, if you're just if you have this goal, but you're not getting towards it, you're not going there, what is the purpose of having the goal? So every once in a while, you got to go back and kind of take a look at your progress and what your goals are and see if you need to make any changes for yourself. All right. And then there's a lesson about being thankful and grateful. And that's hard to do sometimes, because when we're sad, then we don't want to feel thankful and grateful because we're thinking, well, what do I have to be grateful for? What do I have to be thankful for? And when you're focusing on that negative, because the negative is so heavy, I know it is. It might only be one negative, and that's that your spouse died, but that one outweighs everything else in your life, especially in the beginning. But we have to start focusing and we have to start diminishing that effect of that grief. It cannot be the sole influencer in our life every second of every day. You just can't. We'll be miserable, and that's not why we're here. Okay. You have more value than that. Okay. People need you. This world needs you. And if you're sitting and letting grief take over your life, then you're depriving others of your talents. And that's not fair to them. So, it's just an exercise of changing your mindset and making yourself a list, or maybe even writing something down once a day. It's just about putting things down on paper, or consciously taking that time to sit with your brain in a positive place. Tell yourself, I'm going to list 3 positive things today. I'm going to list 1 positive thing every day, or whatever it might be. But that lesson talks about how to go about doing that and gives you some specific things to do, exercises to do, so that you can get your mind in that place where you can start to feel thankful and grateful for the things that are in your life, despite the fact, because just because you're grateful and thankful for the positive things does not mean that you're that you're happy about the sad things. It doesn't mean you're okay with your grief. It just means that there are other things to think about in your life. There's a place in your heart that is set aside for positive stuff, and also in your brain. It should not be taken over by negative, negative, negative all the time. So if it has been, then you've got to rearrange and make some room for that positive stuff. Okay, because it's really important for your mental health. All right. And then the last thing is to change your environment. And so I talked about this in a YouTube video, also on like a small YouTube video on my regular channel, but also just talking about, um, if things are hitting you in a certain way and triggering you in a certain way, the more you go through those things, the easier it is for those things to trigger you. And so sometimes you have to manipulate your environment a little bit to so that you don't get triggered like automatically. Your brain is lazy. Your brain wants to do things on autopilot. It doesn't want to think all the time. It wants to just kind of fuzz out, and just like when you go to work every day, every single day, you can get in your car and then arrive at work and not really even realize that you made the whole trip, because you don't have to think about the drive. Your brain is on autopilot. If you take a different route to work, your brain is suddenly like looking at all these things and looking at houses and noticing things you don't normally notice because you're taking a different route. And so you're kind of waking your brain up and making it work, but you're also stimulating it. And so sometimes changing your environment will take that attention off of the trigger and off of the grief and off of yep, that's where my daughter plays basketball and her dad will never see her play basketball again. So every time I pass by that school where she played basketball, and that's on my way to work every day, I get triggered by that thought. So guess what? Take a different route to work and I don't pass by that school anymore. So changing your environment can help to disrupt those triggers that are so automatically happening all the time in your brain, that just, it just gets so much easier to flip them on the more it happens. All right. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the topics for the fourth module. It'll be the last module in the course. And, I'm going to leave the Facebook group open. It was supposed to already be closed like, I don't know, a week ago or two. I don't know. But I'm going to leave it up for a few more days so that you can watch this video, ask any last minute questions. And then the next time that I open up the chat for anybody who buys the course, it will also be open to anybody who wants to pay for the monthly fee to be a part of that. So it's just not going to be on Facebook, because I don't like how Facebook does Facebook groups. So I'm going to use a different platform. Okay, that's going to wrap it up, and that's going to be the last session. Thank you so much for joining me, Teresa. I think that I wish I could have fixed it for you. I know you're here, and I checked to see if you had any questions, and I didn't see any questions in the Facebook chat. So I do apologize for I don't know why the chat's not working. But we'll get all this stuff figured out little by little. But thank you for joining, and if you're watching on the recording, then hopefully this will give you some motivation to get back into that course, pick out another lesson, do another lesson, and keep on moving in the right direction. That's all you can do. One foot in front of the other. Baby steps if you have to, but just always be working to move in that positive direction. We're moving away from grief and toward growth, right? Okay, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the Facebook group, and enjoy your course. Reach out if you ever have any questions, comments, or anything like that, and we will check you next time. Bye.